Good morning, friends and family in the world. For everyone who's been with us 5 years, y'all know that heaven is really moving something special spiritually and physically. Last time that I did a video, the last two videos, there was a shift in the earth that was occurring in my life. That there was times that I could be standing still and the earth would just like and then back. To the point that I would have to reach out and grab something. It was so real. And then after this had happened and I spoke about it, then I had became electrically charged. Okay. Now I have kept up. The Lord has me keeping up with the 1290 days, and today is 880 of the 1290 days. When Daniel spoke to the angel and said, "What is this, Lord? I don't understand." He said, "Close it, for it's sealed." I want to show y'all, according to God, what Daniel did not understand. Y'all see the numbers in the words? Okay. December the 4th is correct. Day 6 is the day that God has been counting up to 1290. Okay. So, after the electrical charge that I had announced, okay, 838, and it means a step going. Now, I get this message because God had told me that His day that the 1290, bless who endures to the 1335th day, to compare the numerical alphabet. And that was our message for the future. Um, so this is kind of a guide and a lead. Now, not too many people have been interested in it, and that's quite okay. I'm good with it. But on the 10th, 3 days, the fourth day after being elected, okay, the Lord come to me and told me that I had been disappointed. And I said, "No, Lord, hasn't nobody disappointed me?" And He says, "No, something that as where I was appointed before that I did not know. And this is why for the 3 days that I did not fret over the disappointment. I didn't know that I was appointed to be disappointed. I didn't know what I was being disappointed over. I didn't know what I was. So I knew that there really wasn't, no big issue. So 3 days later, okay, um, on the 10th, it was 8:42, and it means happy, image of the same, grows. All right. And then 3 days later, on the 13th, I heard the Lord say, "Bath of oil, you are appointed. Enjoy him." Okay. That was on day 845. And according to the Hebrew numerical means right of God. Okay. The very next day, I was sexually assaulted. Led to the saving being at stake. And that child was saved. The message was the child was of the Isaiah prophecy. So, that was on the 13th, which was really about 4 or 5 years back while I was sewing my clothes when during my purification, God come to me and told me that Christ was born on the 13th, and that was in December. So I was just the 13th of December because Christ died on the same day that he was born. Okay, so I'm thinking December, and God's already told me. So I just went with God on it, and I didn't dig any deeper. So years later, when the 13th come back up, I understood. It was accepted in my spirit. Okay. As we move on, okay, from that day, um, on the 26th, which means come and bring, was day 858. Now, I've noticed the patterns of God. Okay, the first number and the last numbers match, and the middle number is different. You know, that's the man and the woman and God in between, which are three strands which come in. So for things to be fallen out on these days that match, like eight, really cool with me. So he told me to get back in the truck and stay. All right, so I did so. When he told me to get back in the truck and stay, I didn't have no problem with it because he told me that my truck was like the Ark of Covenant and I was his treasure in the box and he missed me. So whenever heaven puts me that way, I had no problem getting back in my truck. August the 3rd, he put me in the truck to travel 12 cities in 12 weeks planting oak trees. Okay, well, I did not realize that my birthday is 424, and in the Hebrew numerical text means, okay, I was born on the day of the Memorial Day of the Holocaust of the Jews. And this is just a touch on several things. And then my birthday in the Bible, 424, the verse says, God is a spirit, and those who worship him should worship him as such. Okay, so for God to be moving in time and to show me the pattern and the oneness of the universe, his word, the moon, the tide, the grass, us, our breath, the water, the secrets of Eden, you know, all of this makes sense to me. So I understood and I've gotten back in the truck. Okay, moving on. All right. The first, this was the transition that was made. Okay, this was the shift. For 20 years ago, um, a week long Joyce Myers Power and Prayer. My daughter was like close to a year old. Following this teaching of Joyce Myers, okay, understand, I grew up Baptist. I knew of Jesus, but this church didn't teach God. It was only Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And whenever the rest of the children was getting baptized, I did not. I did not understand it. At 18 years old, when he put life and death of my firstborn baby in prayer in my arms, Leah run 104 fever for 6 days. And the hospital told me to prepare myself. So I took her home. And my husband was in Illinois at the time. And my baby had the mat in her eyes, the snot in her ears, and she was really, really pale. She's not olive skin. She wasn't olive skin like I was. So I put my hand over her chest. She was cradled in my arm. I put my hand over her chest, and I fell asleep praying over her. Well, the next morning we woke up. There was no snot. There was no eye boogers. There was no earwax. Her wrestling was gone. Her fever was broke, and her color was days. I pondered what God was Joyce Myers talking about that just gave me my baby back. I, my tears hit the page. I closed the book. I laid my hands on top of it in a praying manner. And I said, Lord, I gladly give you my life as well as my firstborn son. Because notice when I read Abraham and Isaac, I understood that only son. The covenant with Abraham, and only Jesus just fulfilled it. God gave Abraham his only. He said, yes. My battery's running low. So I went to God. God sent me to Jesus in the death of my son because I was pregnant. Baptized 3 months later with Jesus in mind. 24 days later, Caleb passed away, and I called out on Christ to remember on earth that when he told him John was beheaded, how he felt, that I knew that he was the same and he could bring him back like the little girl. But I received everybody else. Whenever I received Jesus, Jesus sent me back to God, where I've been waiting 20 years to get back to Christ. And back in arms, and heaven is moving full speed. I already knew that God was back in the world and that Christ was on the throne. Christ is in the world also. So God and Christ being in the world, there's no one in heaven. That means that the current is on fire. This is the transition. There is that comes with this, but I will have to charge my battery before it shuts me down. I tried doing this before and it would not go through. So back up, after, because it's really, really important. Heard they are, we are about home. So that Isaiah called Matthew 22 to the, I will explain that. Sweet water and honey. He said that I'm gluttonous.